Welcome back to another episode of your Divine Glow podcast. If you're new, welcome. I'm happy you've joined the space. My name is Ashley. I am the Divine Glow coach who guides professionals to rewrite their stories through purpose-driven entrepreneurship. And today we're going to be discussing shifting from the 9-to-5 mindset to entrepreneurial success. As a licensed social worker turned mindset coach, I know a thing or two about shifting to the entrepreneurial mindset and what it takes. In the very beginning of this podcast, as a whole, I spoke about my journey and what led me here to the entrepreneurial space. Because for those of you that know, I didn't want no parts. I didn't see it for me. But let's do a quick recap, okay? I didn't pursue my first entrepreneurial venture until 2021, which was my photography business, Time Capsule Photography. In February 2023, I decided to pivot and pursue coaching, which was more aligned with my purpose. So, operating as a traditional social worker left me feeling overwhelmed, undervalued, and unfulfilled. Okay. No matter what sector I was in, speaking of like support agencies, nonprofits, for profits, just to name a few, it just wasn't it. So, what's the difference between the 9-to-5 and entrepreneurial mindset, you may ask? In layman's terms, 9-to-5 mindset is grounded in routine and job security, while the entrepreneurship mindset thrives on adaptability, vision, risk taking, and continuous learning. Let me break this down a little bit more for you. So, the 9-to-5 mindset boxes you in and poses a ceiling for individuals. So there's a defined career path when you think about a 9-to-5, right? So for example, for me as a social worker, I got my master's in social work. I obtained my license in social work, so LSW, and I go on to obtain my clinical license, also known as a LCSW. And then I become a therapist, right? That was most likely for me back then the goal, and just to have my private practice, right? That was it. But now it's not my story. Absolutely not. With the 9-to-5 mindset, we tend to prefer our comfort zones, even when we know we need to make a move. Like we have that nudge that we just need to pivot and we don't. The one thing I would say about the 9-to-5 mindset is that it limits you, or at least in my experience, it has. My personal shift to a entrepreneurial mindset wasn't the easiest, and it's still ongoing. I had to leave my old comfort zone behind and step into the learning zone where I face challenges, where I problem solve, acquire new skills, and extend my comfort zone. Okay. I had to experience risks, be flexible, and approach work and life differently. I say that too because 9-to-5, when the work was done at 5, we leave and work at work and we're going home. We're not bringing the work with us, okay? But now that I'm in this entrepreneurial space and I work from home, the work and the home is in the same space, which could be a little issue at times, but that's why we have to definitely get in those strategies and make sure that we're separating them. Okay. But that's for another day, another talk. But for me, just the shift to the entrepreneurial mindset, it took a lot of faith, not only in God, but within myself as well. I struggled with a lot of lack of confidence, self belief, just believing that this is something that I could really pursue and be good at. And it took a lot of prayer and just letting God lead. If you have come across any interview that I've been in, I talked a lot about God leading me and what it took for me to just surrender, throw my hands up and just say, hey, God, you got it. Um, because at the end of the day, I don't know what He has planned for me per se and how we're going to get there. But I had to let go of control and just know that, hey, he's directing me and letting me know this is something I have to do, despite not me even having concrete evidence within my family of doing it, but being able and being exposed to other people that whether I have met already or have not met, that this is possible for me. I got to a point where I was like really fed up with myself. I had no other choice but to go for it. So within that nervousness came, right? I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I got it. I'm so afraid. But you know what? I took that what considered to be nervousness as a positive indicator for me. What used to be negative, I turned into a positive for me. It means now when I feel nervous, I'm pushing the boundaries I set for myself. I'm venturing into new territory and I'm being stretched. I take it as a sign that I'm growing. And when you stretch something, right, there's tension, right? That's what we need. That's what we need to push forward and be able to go to the next level. I want to know a famous entrepreneur that we all know and love and adore, and that is Miss Rihanna herself, Miss Fenty. Okay, now Rihanna, as we all know, started her music career with Ponder Replay, and it goes on. Okay, we still waiting for that album, girl, but yeah, she is in a different space now. She's in a different space. She took a huge risk and just stepping into these different industries such as makeup, skincare, lingerie, and I'm sure a ton more that we don't really know about. But and I'm sure she's like very afraid at times. She's even probably second guessing herself. But you know what? She is doing the damn thing. And she created a space for inclusivity and diversity where there was none, you know? And that is very innovative. That is very, very brave. And she has all the courage, right? That is someone that I look up to when I'm like, I don't know about this. But I'm reminded of people like Rihanna with that mindset that like, hey, I'm just gonna go and get it anyway. I've never seen it done, but I'm gonna go and get it anyway. At least I tried, and you can see what happens, right? So here's some strategies that helped me and continues to help me shift into that entrepreneurial mindset. So the thing about it is, right, is that we have to stop certain things. We can't be the same person that we was yesterday, right? If we want to become someone new, someone different, and just someone elevated, like an elevated version of ourselves, we have to get away from certain people, places, things, habits, what have you. And that involves just a whole overall transformation of self. And it also includes educating yourself, right? Because the more you know, the more you're going to grow. Well, a couple things here. I had to stop comparing myself. And boy, that had me at a chokehold. Still sometimes does. It's hard, right? We live in a world where we constantly see other people in their lives, right, on social media. Not to say that social media is the factuals, right? Like of course on social media people post what they want to post and it's not always, the bad, right? But we have that pattern of comparing ourselves to others no matter where we are. I had to stop being hard on myself. Sometimes I still am, but I have the awareness to know better now. I have the awareness to say, Ashley, I hear you. What are you saying to yourself right now? Why are you not giving yourself grace? Why are you not giving yourself compassion right now? Right? It's being able to recognize maybe even those certain triggers that you get in certain situations where it's like, oh yeah, I better stop that, or how to pivot in that situation, right? And just be mindful just of how you're talking to myself and yourself. Make sure that you're loving on yourself. Make sure that you're bigging yourself up. I always say we should always be our best hype man or woman. You shouldn't have to go outside of yourself to get validation. And at the end of the day, God's validation is all I need, okay? On top of that, I had to remove the distractions. Now, social media was one of them. Social media now, I like to say I don't do as much scrolling as I used to do. I literally post and I dip. Like I post what I need to post and I dip. I'm not on there for a long, extensive time it, because you get your mind clouded. And again, you go back to the comparison. You got to get away from things and people that aren't aligned with you and what you're seeking. If your vision of yourself is looking like A and the people you're hanging around with is looking like B, then honey, I would say assess and redirect. Okay. You need to be surrounded by people, places, and things that really are the vision of who you see yourself becoming, and really put yourself in those spaces. You need to remove all the unnecessary small talk and meaningless conversations. And I mean this like gossip. We don't got time for gossiping. We don't have time for it. I want to say too, just get away from the people that can't think beyond the traditions, right? And what I mean is that, for example, when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, I was pressured into just being a social worker. And while I had to have a conversation where it's like, this doesn't fulfill me, this is just not it, I think I'm being called to go somewhere else. This person just did not get it. This person did not understand. They could not see the vision. Um, and while it did hurt in the moment where I'm like, wow, I thought this person would be so supportive and just be on board and just, be my cheerleader, right? This person actually did the opposite, and it hurt me. But I had to understand that this person had not had that experience. This person probably wasn't even thinking on that type of level, or even to see beyond what they were already taught, but beyond what they were already doing. And I've accepted that. But there's people that you're going to tell your vision to, that you're going to be like, yeah, I want to explore this entrepreneurial journey, and they will throw negativity on it. So you have to be mindful of who you're telling these things to, who you're surrounding yourself with in on this journey, because again, back to that self-talk, right? There's conversations even with other people that can even influence what you're thinking, what you're saying to yourself in this moment. And you can't waver, right? You can't say, well, this person's really close to me, this person is one of the most important people in my life, and I value their opinion, but what they're saying is not really what I want to hear right now. But I have to understand why they're saying that and where they're coming from, and being able to turn that around and be like, well, I hear what you're saying, but I have to try. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Not everybody's going to know or understand. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, God knows. Okay. I I also love to talk about programming, because that goes into and feeds into the tradition, right? As we all know, we are sold this American dream, which is not a dream at all. It's not real. And at least for us as minorities, we don't get a piece of that, right? And a lot of the times, the dream, right, is to go to school, go to college, um get married, have children, white picket fence, the spiel. But that is all programming. That's all that they feed to us. But there's a world outside of that that we have not been taught, that we have never experienced. And there's other people that have tapped into that have actually experienced something outside of the norm, right? And that they have made it to be doable. They have given us the evidence, like, this is doable. Anybody can do it. Anybody, if you choose to. Anybody, if you're up for that task. Now, I've had a question before that was given to me. Can anybody be an entrepreneur? And for me, I believe that anybody can be what they want to be, right? Now, it depends on how hard you want to work at that. If you see yourself building a business, growing a business where you have not seen before, me, like, yes, you can do anything that you put your mind to. Now, it's a choice, right? People are okay with working their 9 to 5. And that is, and I'm not coming on here bashing 9 to 5s at all, because there is a certain criteria that everybody you know is abides to. And a 9 to 5 is just as good as an entrepreneurial venture, you know? I think a 9 to 5 space is needed where, some people don't want to have the responsibility of being the CEO. You know what I'm saying? Even if you have a 9 to 5, as an entrepreneur, right? Like, you are working more hours than just 9 to 5. There's a lot of moving parts that you're responsible for. There's a lot more responsibility in owning your own business, or, building, growing your business, hiring people. Like, there's so much. So people that are just like, yeah, I don't want that responsibility. I'm good with my job and my role here. Cool. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But as an entrepreneur, shifting to an entrepreneurial mindset, you got to get away from the programming. You got to get away from what is traditional and be open to knowing what is what you're capable of doing, and what is the goal that you can reach outside of the tradition. Lastly, I want to make sure you invest in yourself. I want to let you know that. Invest in yourself, invest in your education, learning what an entrepreneur is, what an entrepreneur does. Go into Google, top 5 things successful entrepreneurs do. Start there. For me, I follow other coaches like Latoya Okia. I have been talking about her for a couple years now. Before I even became certified as a coach, I was watching her videos on YouTube and just learning about her journey, and really just seeing how she has grown into the coach that she is now. I've invested in her courses, to get new knowledge. It's important to feed your mind consistently. And the one thing that she's big on as well is just the the concept of repetition. Like, hearing something repeatedly over and over. That's how we learn, right? We learn by just having it going on and on in our subconscious. you know we have to make sure that we're getting the knowledge and not just listening to it one time. But hey, I need to go back to that maybe like 5 times, 10 times, until I'm able to understand. And when somebody asks me, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. I could tell you that. You gotta make the time for yourself. It's important to surround yourself with those who you strive to be, right? So attend those conferences, attend those events, attend those workshops, network. Eventbrite has been very helpful to me in just seeing there's free events, of course. Sometimes you have to, go to the paid events. They're well worth it. I think being surrounded by who you are striving to be is so important outside of just Googling, right? Outside of just getting that like one-off information or a video, being in the presence of who you're trying to become and learn is even more effective to me. I don't know about you, but I'm a hands-on learner. So if I'm in the same space we're just in the presence of of the people that I strive to be, I'm learning. It's going to be more effective for me, you know? No shade to YouTube, but like, YouTube has been like my secondary source when it comes to information. I've been using YouTube now for like 3 to 4 years in my development. no matter if it came to just personal development, fitness, like anything. Because YouTube, we all call YouTube University, you already know. So my thing is, if we got it for free, it's at our fingertips. Why not use it? And the thing about it is we have so much access to all this stuff. All it takes is a little bit of time. And the last thing I would say too is just invest in online courses. So one of the things that I've done to help me pivot my mindset has been investing in courses on Udemy or Udemy. One of those. I don't know how you pronounce it, but tomato. But those like type of websites have helped me tremendously. Sometimes you could get a course like $10, $20. Like they'd be having these random sales, but it's well worth it depending on what you want to learn. For anyone that is finding it difficult transitioning from the 9 to 5 mindset to an entrepreneurial mindset, I get it. And it does take time. Give yourself grace. There are times that fear is going to be knocking at your door and self-doubt will slap you dead in your face. But keep in mind, the reward that lies on the other side of all of it is greater than any temporary feeling that you have. The mindset shift is a journey. It requires patience. So I invite you to reflect on your own mindset currently and consider what is going to take for you to go toward your entrepreneurial mindset. I want you to meditate, write it in your journal, pray on it. I would also like to invite you to schedule a divine discovery session with me. It's a 1-to-1 90-minute call where we deep dive into your current goals and craft a personalized strategy to transform your mindset and elevate your confidence when it comes to your business. Make sure to find the link in the show notes or feel free to email me at ashley@yourdivineglow.com. I look forward to assisting you on your journey to entrepreneurial success. Until next time, continue to let your divine glow shine, babies. Peace.